Bears Niners. Going against my gut always works. Bears Niners, great Sunday night game, by the way, guys. Did they flex this, or
Oh, this is the game of the week.
was this from the beginning of the
No, this is
season?
already the game of the week. You want to know
Very
something funny?
good.
Mike Tirico said on the broadcast last week when he was doing Patriots or after Patriots Ravens, when they do the wrap up, then they preview next week's game. Mike Tirico said he was in Chicago and to watch like Bears preseason in like July or August, and he said somebody mentioned to him, either a coach or player said like, "Oh yeah, um, we got you Sunday night in December, but like, oh, they might flex us out. Like, oh, maybe we're not going to be that good." I think that's what he said, but something like that. Or maybe Mike Tirico, like,
Okay, game is this?
thinking, oh, maybe they flex us out, but now it's one of the games of the year. Yeah.
This is
What
Bears
game is
Niners. This is Bears Niners, and
Bears
Oh,
Niners.
and to your point, it's a bit to your point, Yehuda. Like, who would be thinking at that week 17? We'd be talking about two teams that are fighting for the number one seed right now, which is literally what it is. Again, what's the
Not
Bear
flex
scenario?
at all.
I think this is the Bear scenario. I didn't look it up. I think they need a Rams loss, one Rams loss, and then they need they need to beat the Niners. They need to win the next two games, and the Niners to beat the Seahawks next week. I think that might be all they need. I don't know, which is not crazy, but they might need a little more. But there's a path, outside path for them to get the number one seed. But what's way more interesting, is that the Seahawks beat the Panthers, let's say, right? Then the Niners beat the Bears. Sunday night we might have this Week 18 schedule out, because the Niners might just play Sunday night 2 straight weeks. So right, because I think Niners Seahawks, even if Panthers Bucks exists, Ravens Steelers could throw a wrench in this. But even if Panthers Bucks exists, even if Chargers Broncos exists, somehow that's for the number one seed. I still think Niners Seahawks, that's Sunday night football material right there. For the number one seed on the line, look what they did last year. They had Lions, Vikings, 14-win teams, number one seed on the line, no brainer. Now they also didn't have a win and go home game.
I will say last year there was no other situational game where they.
That's what I just said. There was correct. That's what I just said. There's no other. Yeah, but wait a second. If your two options, which is the most likely scenario, is that your two options will be Niners Seahawks or Panthers Bucks. Which one you putting Sunday night? Which one you putting Saturday night, my friend?
Yeah, you're right. 100.
That's all I'm saying. So this is gonna be an interesting one. But it's a great game. Obviously, Caleb Williams is a guy hard guy to get a read on. Didn't play well against the Packers until he did. Made some big throws in the fourth. It's like when Darnold did this a little bit against the Rams also. When guys put their team in a position to lose, but then the team bails them out, and then they put their team in a position to win. How do you judge that? It's a little hard, and I think that's what Caleb Williams did last week. Like, he didn't play particularly well for the first 3 quarters. Even without Micah Parsons, I thought the Packers' pass rush was pretty decent, and I thought the secondary played pretty well. Like, I thought the Packers did a good job, albeit weather conditions affected that, of course. But yeah, Caleb Williams was not throwing the ball accurately the first 3 quarters. All of a sudden, he made some huge throws, and then that game winner to DJ Moore was just a bomb. So hard guy to get a read on, also. But I think I've seen encouraging signs from Caleb Williams this year, just considering the trajectory's been pointing in the right direction, right? Like, we just want someone points this out, like, quarterback growth isn't always linear. So we always assume that Bo Nix and Drake May, all of a sudden year 2, they're going to get better. It happened with Drake May. Bo Nix, you can argue. Jaden Daniels, so good in his rookie year, must be better in his second year. It doesn't always happen that way. CJ Stroud, so good in his rookie year, must be better in his second year. That's not always the case. That they have the concept of a sophomore slump. Like, quarterback growth is not always linear. You don't always know how guys are going to go. So assuming you saw Caleb Williams not play particularly well last year, but like you see he can move in the pocket, extend plays, and use throw the ball down the field every now and then. Okay, obviously he's going to do it more consistently this year. That wasn't a given, but he has, and he's made big plays in the fourth quarter. And although their margin of victory is very slim, he's made big plays when he's needed to. So at the end of the day, you see the big plays he has in him. I like this. I also think he has a good matchup this week. We saw Phillip Rivers kind of torch this Niners defense last week against on Monday night. So I think it's a good matchup for him. I think he can have success. But I want the Niners to win. I want that Sunday night game. I'm going Niners by 3. Yehuda, what do you think about this game?
What's the line right now?
Niners 3. Niners by 3.
I know. What is the line? It is Niners -3.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels right. I think because Bears are coming off big emotional win. Niners are at home, so you're going to get that little home boost, but they are so injured. And like you said, Philip Rivers was carving them up. First drive, you're like, this Zeta should not be doing this to us right now. And I think the Bears definitely did get a little lucky getting an onside kick. Anytime you get an onside kick is lucky, but then they turned it on in the big moments uh, when they needed to for the game tying drive on fourth down to he was wide open, but to make a big play and come through. And then also say like they were facing a backup quarterback. Malik Willis was playing well, but uh, it was still backup. It was not Jordan Love. And even though
Oh, God bless.
like they oh bless you, they had to get a lot of things right, and they had to be playing against depleted Packers teams, missing Tucker Kraft. Jordan Love got injured. Mike Hill was out. And then they only barely won by a touchdown, yes, but sometimes better be lucky than good. And they are a well coached team. Their quarterback, who I know is a big favorite in the Meisty Abadoud dynasty household, Caleb Williams, has been making the leap,
Dog.
starting to get better.
Dog.
And I know Rocky really wants this Niners Seahawks game, but
I do.
I don't know. Bears got something special going right now. San Francisco is much better by DVOA. Chicago is a little lucky. I remember seeing when they were like 7-2, 8-3, and whatever. DVOA kept being like, "This is the worst 7-2 team we've ever tracked." And then the next week they'd be like 8-2. This is the worst 8-2 team we've ever tracked. Like it was consistent that they were getting a little lucky. So it has that Chiefs feel from last year, especially with Caleb still not hitting like all the layups and like the easy throws. But they got something special going right now. So I'm gonna take Chicago. Not happy about it at all. And I definitely can see the Niners winning. But I want to take Chicago in what is another huge test, right? Like every week becomes the biggest game in Caleb Williams' career. Obviously, being a second-year guy, so he hasn't had that many games. But every week they keep winning. Every week, then the next week comes. Now this is the biggest game that you've ever played. This is the biggest game you've ever played in. Brock Purdy's been in like 3 or 4 seasons, and he's played in the Super Bowl. So like this is a huge game for him, but he has the experience. But this, I feel like, is the biggest game in Caleb Williams' career up to this point. So can he come through in this big moment? Still fighting for the division. I don't think they officially have division on lock.
They don't.
And fighting for the 1 seed. So we'll see. We'll see really like if he can come through and if their defense can force some turnovers. And George Kittle's been injured, so if they lose another guy to injury, like that could really affect their offense. And I think it seems like you can plug in any quarterback, like we talked about with Kyle Shanahan's system. But to be missing Kittle is such a big part of the run game and the pass game. He isn't practicing. He has a chance to play, but yeah, if he's hurting or out, I think that'll really affect their offense. So I'm gonna take Chicago by like some crazy field goal through the fog. They'll like go through the fog and hit the Golden Gate Bridge and go into the field goal somehow with the Chicago the Bears' luck, crazy good luck they're having this year. But yeah, I am very nervous about my pick, and I can definitely see a path to the Niners winning. But I'm going to take Chicago.
So whoa, where are who do the Packers play in week 18?
Vikings.
Why isn't that in the? I know, I just don't see it in the playoff. Oh, here it is. Okay,
Which is relevant, which is certainly relevant for a couple different reasons, but
yeah, okay. Either way, let's just go focus on. Sorry, I was just on this machine. So yeah, I actually think that the 49ers are going to win here. I actually also somehow think the 49ers are going to pull the 1 seed off somehow. But that's obviously comes down to week
there's a
18
chance.
versus Seattle, and that'll come down to week 18, and then that could go either way to be determined and discussed. But I think the Bears have less to play for here than the than other teams. I think first of all, I think that if you are the so looking at the playoff hit, where you're either playing the 49ers. If you are the 3 seed, you're playing either the 49ers or you're going to play Seattle, um, one of those teams, depending on what happens there, right? And if you're the 2 seed, you're playing Green Bay. At the end of the day, or you're playing Detroit or something like that, but most likely Green Bay will get the 7 seed, the Seattle will get 6 seed, and 5th seed Rams or something like that. So either way, I don't think that it matters to the matchup, per se. I think that you don't want to play Green Bay if you're them in the first round, but you definitely don't want to be playing the 49ers or Seattle
True.
either. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation in that sense. But I could see very simply and easily that the Bears lose this week, win next week, take the 2 seed or the 3 seed or whatever it is, um, and be okay with that. So I'm gonna take the 49ers here to win.
I agree, and I agree with your assessment. The seeding is still important, depending on who you play. Depending on who your competition is. So I agree with you.